Some concern has arisen on day one of Rishi Sunak taking over as Prime Minister over possible friction developing between India and Britain over migration issues. This arises primarily from the reappointment of the very controversial Suella Braverman as the Home Secretary. On Wednesday, Minister of State for Business Greg Hands said in an interview that most areas of the FTA have been completed, but Britain will not sign until a deal is in the best interest of the British people and the UK economy. The obstruction clearly is over migration issues that Braverman raised earlier. Suella Braverman had earlier spoken very critically of the free trade agreement being negotiated with India, which includes an element of migration of professionals from India. She also brought up the issue of overstayers, and that primarily refers to Indians. A lot of those who have overstayed in Britain over a number of years now include Indians. Braverman, in her interview to The Spectator, linked any new movement of professionals with historic overstayers, of whom many have sought asylum and not returned. She blamed the Indian government for this, a view that the Indian High Commission in London challenged. She has suggested that the trade agreement should be linked to a decision by India to take these overstayers back. There was an agreement made between India and Britain over this earlier. The reason that's not been implemented is because it's not very clear who all these people are. Second, a number of them have been here, most of them have been here for many years now. They have homes here, they have children going to school here. It's not easy to uproot these people if you can trace and identify them to begin with. Braverman made her remarks when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. Truss, on the other hand, was keen to show off an FTA by Diwali. She had initiated it as Trade Secretary earlier. This is an issue that Braverman raised. She was then silenced. She was persuaded or prevailed upon to calm down on this and not to push this issue. She agreed under pressure, apparently, that she would not raise this issue, that she would then be supportive of the FTA.
It's in my soul, she's in my...
Braverman accordingly read out a prepared statement supportive of the FTA at a Diwali event, and she complimented migrants from India.
Naturally, there is an economic imperative for our countries to work together, which is why we are so eager to secure a trade deal. The contribution of the Indian diaspora to British life is enormous. Our villages, towns and cities have been profoundly enriched by immigration from India. There are many, many people of Indian heritage in prominent positions.
Now that the government has changed with Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister, it is very likely that she could return to that policy, because what she said earlier was entirely in line with what Rishi Sunak himself has been saying.
I am prepared.
Rishi Sunak spoke at the hustings in Birmingham, where he was campaigning against Truss, of a need to link migration with any trade deal.
We've got to get tougher with our foreign policy. So right now we have this situation which is extraordinary, that we will go to a country, we'll talk to them about a trade deal we want to do, we'll also give them foreign aid, right, to help their country. But at the same time, we are not asking them or requesting them or demanding that they also take back their failed asylum seekers, right? That's wrong, and we've got to change that as well.
Rishi Sunak backed that remark with Clause 7 in his 10-point pledge on migration. The trade deal with India is the biggest on the table. The issue of migrants is the biggest with India. The views challenging India from the Indian origin Prime Minister of today are one with the Indian origin Braverman of before, not the Braverman who read out that polite statement on Diwali. This is a British Home Secretary of Indian origin who is a fan of British colonization and a self-proclaimed supporter of the British Empire.